All right, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jacqueline Lopez, Chair of the Planning Commission, and I'm going to go ahead and call this Planning Commission meeting of August 11th to order. And if we can please get a roll call.
Chairperson Jackie Lopez,
Present.
Vice Chairperson Nico Isiano,
Present.
Commissioner Cristian Rodriguez Ceja,
Present.
Commissioner Gloria Franz,
Present.
Commissioner Espe Valdez, present.
Thank you. And if we can please get the introduction of staff.
Good evening, Madam Chairperson and member of the Planning Commission. Tonight we have Community Development Director, Mr. Kevin Snyder, Evelyn Beltran, Secretary, Zach Heldenman, our Assistant City Attorney, Rebecca Winscott, our Fire Marshal, myself, Leila Nambar, Senior Planner. Thank you.
Thank you. And at this time, we're going to go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'll go ahead and start the pledge. Please put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we can get a statement from our commission secretary.
Certainly, thank you. The general rules of courtesy for virtual meetings are as follows. Please be mindful of background noise when joining the meeting virtually. Virtual meeting participants must mute all live streaming devices to avoid playback when speaking. Virtual meeting participants must mute their microphone to help keep background noise to a minimum when they are not speaking. When your microphone is not muted, avoid activities that could create additional noise. Position your camera properly. If you choose to use a web camera, be sure it is in a stable position and focus at eye level if possible. If you will be sharing content during the meeting, make sure you have the files and/or links ready to go before the meeting begins. Members from the public participating virtually wishing to provide oral testimony must follow the instructions on the agenda and/or online in order to provide public comment for agenda or non-agenda items. Members from the public participating virtually wishing to provide oral testimony have 3 minutes to provide oral testimony. Thank you.
And at this time, we can get our statement from our city attorney.
Thank you, Chair. There have been no directives issued temporarily halting local government processing of land use and development review applications and/or consideration of policy actions, including but not limited to general plan amendments, zoning code amendments, and/or new or amended specific plans. Therefore, the City of Indio continues to accept and process applications in accordance with state and local requirements. City of Indio is following Governor Newsom's executive orders N-25-20 and N-29-20 pertaining to the Brown Act. These executive orders allow governmental entities to conduct meetings by electronic means and for members of the public to observe the meeting electronically as well as provide public comment or public testimony telephonically or otherwise electronically. Accordingly, the City Council and Planning Commission are currently conducting scheduled meetings in a hybrid in-person and virtual meeting format. The City of Indio has implemented technology solutions that allow members of the public to observe and offer public comment as well as public testimony virtually during public hearings at scheduled Planning Commission meetings. The city is committed to providing public participation opportunities while also complying with the requirements for the processing of land use and development review applications and/or consideration of policy actions.
Thank you. Now we're on to item 6. Do we have any public comments, items that are not on the agenda?
We do not.
Okay. Seeing that there are no minutes, public hearing items, or action items, we're going to go ahead and move to number 10, which is study session items, which is 10.1, Palm Storage Project Consultation. A project consultation to consider the use and concept site for the proposed RV storage facility to be located on a 2.4 acre site. And Leila.
Good evening again. As you mentioned, this is a project consultation. The applicant is here. So this is not a public hearing. We're just going to go over what the applicant proposes and to answer any questions that the Planning Commission may have. So let's see, or maybe this way. Okay, I think I got it. So just gonna move this a little bit lower, I apologize. So The project is located west of Commerce Street. Avenue 45 is somewhere here. And it includes these two parcels, parcel on the top and parcel to the south. There's an extra parcel or additional parcel here, which the applicant doesn't own. The zoning for the subject projects at this time is industrial park, which allows the mini storage as a permitted right. However, the general plan is workforce employment with the main goal of creating jobs and also covering our industrial uses. This is what the applicant is proposing. As you see, there are 5 buildings on the side, A, B, C, D, and E. And each of them, there is a breakdown here that shows how many units are there, or how many spaces, I should say, are there, and what is the square footage. So the applicant basically is proposing an RV or boat storage, which will be covered or uncovered. Also, there's the office for the, also he's offering, or he's proposing 2 office units, which could be rented or leased to for office space in the front. And the site will be accessible between 9 and 3 by the manager on site, and also it is available 24/7 via code. The storage facility will also employ between 2 to 5 employees. So staff and the applicant is here to get feedback from the Planning Commission on the design and on the basically use. And as I said, this is a unique situation here, which is the applicant is offering storage and additional offices. So there's a commercial component to it as well. The applicant is here if you would like to hear from him. And I'm here to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Leila. Do we have any questions for staff on this item before we? Seeing that there are none, Mr. Hariki? Did I pronounce your last name correct?
Howdy.
Hariki.
Can you hear me okay?
Hariki, yes.
Good evening, council. My name is Jacob Howdy. I'm a local real estate broker with 15 years of real estate experience. I live here in India, grew up here in India. Hopefully that helps for something. I'm not a big corporation, but I would love to open a business here in India, my hometown. So there's basically 3 different types of RV storage products. You know, there's uncovered, which is the cheapest that is offered. It's just out in the sun, which there's one called chilled storage here in India, which offers that. And then there's also covered storage, which is, you know, canopies, stuff like that, which is also offered in India. There's one called Prime Storage here in India, which offers covered. And then there's indoor climate controlled, which is the highest price, where you get your own garage, and that's the highest price point. So there's a need for like a mid price point where it's just covered. It'll be mostly covered parking, canopies. It'll have some solar. It'll be a green project, all LED lighting, drought resistant landscaping. So it will be a green project. There is a need here. All these businesses that I did mention, they're on a wait list. So they currently don't have any spots available. About 11% of households have an RV. So there's a big need here in India to offer some type of storage at that mid price point level. Down the street from this Commerce Street, where the parcels of land are, there is some indoor storage. And then there's also a warehouse storage, but nothing that's covered outdoor. So that's like the mid price point, which there's a big need. I'm basically here to try to get any type of feedback as far as architecture, colors you would like, building styles. I know up and down the street, there's like block style buildings. So I don't know if you want to continue with that, or do you looking for something more modern? But it will be a upscale aesthetics. I plan to have palm trees out front, really, really nice exterior, welcoming. I want it to feel more like a country club than just a storage lot. The site plan is very preliminary. I mean, it's just a rough, wanted to show something, but it's open to any suggestions. Those sizes, they're actually can vary in size. What shows on the site plan is 12 by 35s, but it can be anywhere from 12 by 20 to 12 by 40. And the layout can be adjusted. I'm here for suggestions, any kind of feedback you can give me.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Commissioners, who would you like to have any questions of the applicant?
I do, if I may, Madam Chair. So I think one of my questions is the office space the office is not for use with the RV storage facility. It's going to be a separate rentable space. Did I understand that correctly?
It'll be one office. Right now I'm looking at about a 24 by 40 building. So there'll be 4 offices, one to maintain the clientele there, whoever needs help with the RV storage side. And then I want to also have 2 additional offices just to lease out for office space. But yes, all under one building.
Under one building, okay. So you mentioned that there's a few of these chilled storage, I think Prime, and there's one that's air conditioned, I guess, a higher end one.
Correct.
I mean, how close are these facilities to where you are now, and why did you select this particular area?
Mostly because, the zoning, the IP zoning, and, 2 parcels of land there. It's about 3 acres. And yes, there's some that are on Cabazon. The indoor storage is off of Cabazon. That's higher end. Those units go from anywhere from $800 to up as high as $2,000, depending on how big you want it, climate controlled, depending on the options you want. And then there's also one within a mile that's a warehouse storage. It's kind of like a valet service. So, you sign up, you leave your keys there, and then they park it inside this big warehouse next to other units. So there's quite a few different types of products. But I think what's missing is something that I want to offer, which is covered outdoor, because it's like a mid-price point. Not everyone's going to be able to afford the indoor storage. And then the fully uncovered storage, there's really only 1 or 2 places here in Indio. One is the Toy Box RV here off of Jackson on the other side of the freeway. And then there's Shield Storage, which are both fully uncovered.
Okay.
But I want something nicer, to show out there.
Okay. So it sounds like once the business is up and running, I mean, people will come in and drop off their RV whenever they need to store it, and they can come and take it out anytime they want. Pretty much.
And it'll be fully automated, contactless. Now that everyone's getting used to the COVID situation, you'll be able to go online, rent a space, get your access code on there, and just pull up to the gate and get access right away once you're signed up online. But there will be an office for anybody needing additional assistance, as well as a hotline you can call for customer service, and then you'll have access 24/7, unless you want to adjust the hours. And then I have been in talks with IID to try to have some solar with Tesla Powerwall. The structures will be made of recyclable steel. And of course, the drought-resistant landscaping, 100% LED lighting. And RV storage is one of the quietest businesses you can have, very low traffic. And so it'll have a very small footprint, minimal traffic.
Okay. So I love all of that you've gone, tried to look at solar, environmentally friendly, all that kind of thing. But what kind of security will there be if everybody's kind of going to have access on their own, and they could come at 3 a.m. or whenever they want to get in and out? I mean, that area is not high traffic. So if somebody wants to come in and do some damage, what kind of, are you going to have cameras and sensors, or what kind of security do you plan to have?
Absolutely. Yeah, it'll be completely block walled, well lit. 24-hour surveillance, cameras, access gate. And it helps that it's right across the street from the U.S. Border Patrol. They have patrol cars that are in and out of there. So I think that adds another level of security that a lot of places can't offer. They're always in and out, and they look like patrol cars, and I think that's going to help as well. But yes, it's going to be well lit, highly secure, cameras, on-site manager.
Okay, so my only other question is, this isn't an area that we were trying to create jobs, right? It's in the workforce area as well.
Right.
And how many jobs are you, will this, not the building and construction part of it, but the overall, maintenance and support? Are we looking at 2 jobs? Are we looking at 5? What?
Well, hopefully once it's fully occupied, anywhere from 2 to 5 employees. That's why I want to have the additional office, so I can have the room to grow into it. At the beginning, 2 offices may be empty until I lease them out. And then as the business grows, I can hire. And another component would be also RV retail products. So I can have a small showroom where I can sell RV products to some of the RV goers. And,
Okay.
it's not like a mini storage. Please don't get it confused with mini storage where you get every crowd in there and they are in and out. This is RV owners, which typically spend $100,000 to $300,000 on their RVs. So it's kind of an upscale client, and you're not going to get as much traffic as you do with mini storage.
Okay, so you're going to want a retail, some kind of a resale
Component, yeah.
component in there in the future.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, those were my questions. I think we're trying to, create things that we need, of course, the service, but that also provide jobs and are a good addition to the area. When it comes to design, if you've been listening to any of our previous meetings, we're kind of going for a little bit more of a modern look and something that is unique, not your average storage. So when you talk about the lighting and the plants and all, that's all really important to us, and the colors, we wanted to say something unique, and it sounds like that's something you're interested in. So for my comments, I think modern, we've been definitely trying to go more modern on our buildings. The green element is very important to us, and of course the fact that there will be at least a little bit of jobs created, and of course the construction part of it will create some, that's important as well. But I'd like to see you, if you come back with something with more detail that would have something different, something creative portion to it. And that's pretty much my comments and my questions on this project.
Yeah, one more thing is on that site plan, which is again very preliminary. I show the retention basin in the front, which I plan to fully landscape with boulders, nice palm trees. But on the interior, would you guys lean more towards having like a landscaped area also in the interior? Would that help, or can it be all paved on the inside?
I think for me, I'd prefer not to have it all paved. Again, it makes everything hotter, and we already have enough problems with the heat. So I think, whatever you could do to, reduce the heat impact, that would be great. And of course, it's hard because this is, you're bringing in large RVs, and well, they're just another big hot thing to sit there. But if you would keep that in mind on either the way shade structures are built or the kind of plants you put in that help to reduce that, I think that would be better than just, all asphalt and cement. I don't think that would be something that we would, at least for myself, that I would really want to see.
And the structures should help a little bit with that as well, with providing plenty of shading on the inside. But definitely, okay.
Okay.
Interior landscaping.
Okay. That's all my comments. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Franz. Any further comments from any of the commissioners?
I'd just like to concur with Commissioner Franz that any way of trying to mitigate some of the heat that is created by just all paved is always a problem, and I think it would be a benefit to your clientele as well. I think that bringing back something that, like Commissioner Franz was saying, something that is modern, something that is creative, to kind of, see if there's a way to lift up the appearance of the street as you're driving in. I think your clientele would also really enjoy that, and I think it would be of benefit, particularly to the area. So looking forward to seeing what else you come back.
Definitely, and I know there's a building to the north. I'm not quite sure who owns it yet, but it's kind of run down. So I'm hoping once I can come in there, I can at least clean up the exterior of their side, because they've got a bunch of trash out there. But hopefully that's part of the plans. I can clean that up too and put in some nice landscaping.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Rodriguez Teja. Commissioner Valdez?
I do have a quick question. Do you have any experience in running an RV store? Have you owned an RV storage facility before?
I've done property management for close to 20 years. Very similar. It's actually a lot easier. I'm used to dealing with tenants and rentals, and they have plumbing issues and air conditioning issues, and you gotta sometimes work with them, or sometimes, evict them or extend their leases. This will be a lot easier for me because I'm just managing parking spaces. There's not much they can ruin there other than, and again, these are high-end owners. They spend a lot of money on their RVs, so I don't anticipate any big problems. But yeah, it'll be a lot easier to manage. But yes, I do have lots of experience.
Okay. And then going back to the workforce area, for the construction or any of the work that you're doing, you're going to do on the property, it would be nice to see you hire local and create some job opportunities that way.
Absolutely.
creating
Yes,
the
I'm
space.
actually working with Alan and Brad McGee, which I think have worked with the city quite a bit. And I'm local here. I would love to at least first give everybody local a chance.
An opportunity. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as the workplace, yeah, as I fill the spots and grow and hopefully add some retail, hopefully I can hire as many people as I can. That'd be great.
And maybe later on down the line, once you're established, offering maybe like creating a job to wash the RVs for the owners or
Right, yeah.
something like that, just to create a
Exactly.
little, incentive and, like I said, some jobs for people in the community.
So as far as the workforce employment, is there like a number of employees you're looking for? Is there a guideline for that, or?
I would defer to staff, but
So at this point, we don't have those detailed information because we are going through a zoning code update, but workforce employment, it could be something from like 20 people to 200 or 300 people, depends on what type of facilities or what type of companies. But so just the mini storage is usually, or just the storage usually has very minimum employees, but the plan that you have, it includes offices. So that seems like there's opportunity for more hire.
Thank you.
Vice Chair? Do you have any comments?
Nothing really to add, other than echoing the other commissioners, but I do thank you for, being here from our community, trying to keep your business within our community. That's much appreciated.
I don't have any other questions, but I guess I have a question for staff or for Kevin. Seeing that this area is zoned for employment, are we taking any inventory of like how much space we have left for that? And whereas we were planning for our general plan or amending certain, I just want to make sure that we have an inventory for what Leah just mentioned, anywhere between the 200 up to 200 like workforce for those types of employment opportunities or businesses that would come into that zone.
Right, so as part of the general plan process, we did identify the acreage that we have available.
Okay.
So as Leila pointed out, we are working on the zoning code update. As part of that, the planning commission, ultimately the city council will consider what type of land uses you want to allow or maybe have limited allowance for. And as has been noted several times, the workplace employment district is focused on job creation to create more local employment opportunities for Indio residents so that they don't need to travel out of the community. So as those regulations make their appearance before you, that'll be the time for the planning commission to really look at the land uses and what you think is appropriate to encourage the job creation goal of the general plan.
I guess what my question is what's the percentage that we have now on hand? Like,
I believe if my memory serves it correctly, we have roughly, I think we identified approximately 500 acres for workplace employment district. A lot of that is our existing industrial manufacturing and business park. I'm looking at Leila to correct me, zone land. So it's roughly around 500 acres. And so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Now, having said that, that inventory can also be added to over time. There are always opportunities to go through an amendment process to the general plan and rezoning in the future to add to that. But right around, as we did the general plan update, it was approximately 500 acres.
500 acres, okay.
Yeah.
And this would be including his project.
Including the property you're discussing this evening. So if it went into the proposed use, then that land would be captured, for lack of a better word. Not that doesn't mean that at some point it couldn't be redeveloped for more intensive, but the proposal in front of you is in line with the current zoning as Leila pointed out to you.
Okay, thank you. No further questions or comments. But again, thank you. If we have some direction there and some comments on and how the next steps to move forward, but thank you so much. Okay. Next item, we have 10.2 resale store project consultation. A project consultation to consider a resale store to be located within the community commercial CC zone inside the existing neighborhood center. And that is Leila.
Good evening.
And Chair, my apologies, Leila. If I could just confirm with Ms. Beltran that no public comment was received on the last agenda item. Sounds like that's the case. Just wanted to make a note of it.
No public comment was received for item 10.1.
All right, thank you. Good evening again. This item before you is a resale facility or resale store. This is again project consultation. It's not a public hearing. The applicant is here to discuss their or his proposal with you. So the site will be one of the suites within the existing Village Center, which is on the west of Jackson, south of Avenue 44. As you may recall, there used to be a grocery store here, which it went away many years ago. But currently there are different businesses within the building, and there are several vacancies as well. The zoning for the site is community commercial, and then the general plan is neighborhood center. So currently the city zoning requires approval of a conditional use permit for a resale store or thrift shop or secondhand dealership. The applicant is basically proposing to have a resale facility which includes several items such as furniture, clothing, electronics, and other household items that it could be sold to or resold to the public. The applicant is here just to get feedback from the Planning Commission, since this is a conditional use permit. So the Planning Commission can approve or deny it based on the findings that the staff needs to make. So in order to minimize the risk, they're here to get your feedback and to see if that's the use that they should go ahead and apply for a full application. As I said, the applicant is here in the audience, Mr. Geronimo. And then, I'm sorry, Umberto, I'm sorry, Mr. Umberto. And then I'm available to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Leila. Mr. Humberto, would you like to come forward and tell us a little bit about what you plan to do or regards to resale store? So that's like, can you explain a little bit?
Yes, my name is Humberto Urbano. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm new here. It's the first time here, so kind of a little nervous, so bear with
You're
me,
fine.
my English too. The idea is I was seeking a consultation in order for me to know what my percentage or my possibilities are for getting the special permit, like Leila mentioned. And it's a store basically of selling all items that go to the house outside, clothes, furniture, anything that you have in the house, basically, secondhand items that people that are in excellent conditions, but in a, on a lower price for the people that, that are in need of it. So I don't know how much, I don't know how much to tell you, but any single item that you find in your house that we come across and that we get for a small fee, resell it for the people that need it, to get it in. Because I visit a lot of the secondhand stores, but their prices are kind of high to my viewing. So I'm trying to see if I could, find, a way to open a store where I could, get the prices down for the people, especially at first I started when all this COVID started. I worked for the school district of Coachella, but when the COVID started, we got laid off and not laid off, but our hours shrunk and all that. So I started working with a company that does real estate sales. So a lot of items come to me by in a small amount, small fees. And I was getting them out to people out there, people that I know that are in need. But going back and forth is kind of like, it's getting out of my budget now. So I'm looking for a place that it's in my budget so I could have it access to the people out there. So I'm trying to see if what my possibilities are for opening a retail store, a secondhand store at the Indio Jackson Square.
Okay. Do we have any questions?
Are you
Regarding-
looking, yeah, I have a question. Are you looking to take over that whole facility, that whole building of the former Village Market, or just certain suites? How big do you anticipate this being?
I'm sorry. There's several suites available, and I'm looking for the one in the corner. It used to be a restaurant, I believe, because the one on the side, so now it's a furniture place. So this is the one next to it. It's the only space available in that corner. I have no idea.
Do you have any other questions, Vice Chair? Any further questions?
Yes, I was trying to unmute. Does staff know, or can they tell us, did we have to approve a conditional use for the furniture store that's on site now?
Commissioner Isiano, no, the furniture store is new. They sell new, so it's a retail store basically. So they did not require a conditional use permit. You approved a revival, as you remember, I believe, a couple of years ago, next to El Super, which they moved to the site to the north. And there are 3 other thrift stores within the city of Indio, which all located within the downtown area. But this requires the conditional use permit, as we mentioned before.
Thank you, Leila.
Any other questions? Ms. Commissioner Rodriguez Ceja?
I think nothing from me, but I believe Commissioner Franz was unmuted.
Yeah, I do have a couple of questions, Madam Chair. For the applicant, a lot of the resale stores in the city and also in the valley are affiliated with some type of a nonprofit, whether it's, you know, Martha's Village Kitchen, the Coachella Valley Rescue Mission. It doesn't sound like you're going to be affiliated with any entity. This is a for-profit store where you will run it and try to get gently used items and then resell them at a price that the market will bear. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Have you ever run a store, a retail store, whether resale or new?
No, I'm barely starting and I'm looking forward to opening a business. So I'm looking into this possibility.
Okay. So you said you've been doing it now, but you've been kind of doing it like you find an item and then you just kind of maybe put it on social media or something and somebody buys it or something like that. And you've been doing that for, sounds like for about a year now?
Yes, more or less. But other things I donate to people because I come across in my line of work a lot of people that are in need of a lot of items, or, you know, household items. So especially to those rural areas, Oasis, Therma, and all that area. Since I get to know a lot of the people there because I'm a bus driver out there, you know, I try to find a way to donate a lot of the items as well. But like I said, now I'm trying to see if I could open a store.
Okay. And you are aware that we have 4 other, I think it's 4, Leila, correct me if I'm wrong, resale stores not very far from there in the downtown area.
Yes, I'm aware.
Okay. Okay, those are my only questions, Madam Chair.
Mr. Valdez, do you have any questions? Okay. Do we have any comments from the public or any other comments?
No public comments were received for this item.
Okay. I guess I'm trying to get my head around because I am very familiar with the Village Market, and I drive through there quite a lot, and trying to understand how this would be. What do we know? What's currently that's there currently in the space? Like how many spaces are available?
So I've seen the floor plan before. It looks like there are like several stores outside, and there's several that they are inside, and in the middle there's an opening area, like a gathering area. But I don't know how many suites there are because we didn't have contact with the property owner. We had only contact with the applicant. So there are probably around 10 or 20 units available that they can rent at any given time. They also, previously, they have also split the existing units into 2 units, or they merged some of them. So I need to basically go back and see, visually inspect the site to see how many there are. But currently there's a furniture store, and I think there's a restaurant in the back, which they have a outdoor seating. There's that ice machine facility outdoor, and there's a recycling facility also outdoor there. But beside that, I don't know any of the interiors.
Okay. So my question is today, I'm going to ask the applicant. So the items that you're selling, would these be items that you would get like at the swap meet, or was it these items that you would get like at a yard sale, or how? I'm trying to get my head around like what type of like items that you'd be selling. So it's all resale. Is it because I've been to the Ramada, the swap meet. I live like right down the street from there. How is that different from what you're doing inside there to what's at the swap meet versus, or like at someone's doing, it's like a kind of like yard sale items, or?
Oh, the items I come across is because I work with a person that does estate sales for the country clubs. So most of the items are in excellent condition.
Okay.
So that was why I'm trying to see if I could.
So this is considered like estate items, pretty much. How much percent, like the percentage, how much is like considered like estate versus like stuff that you would get like at a swap meet or like at a yard sale?
No, I'm not understanding the question.
Huh? Yeah, the quality of the items. Like, what's the percentage that you get? Like, how much do you get that would be like consignment? What's the percentage? Is it more consignment or is it more like used items, people that don't need stuff anymore?
No, it's like consignment because the quality is good. Is it that what happens is that the people, they hire someone because they're moving it out of town or somebody passed away.
Uh-huh.
And those items in the house are in immaculate conditions. They either sell them and whatever they don't sell in the state sales, they sell them for cheaper prices. So all the items are in excellent conditions, are way above what you find in the swap meet.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Oh, no, no, no. So this is the street view. As you see, they have several shops. Right around the edge, and also there's some interior. Oh, so there's also interior. We're gonna put it on the other screen. And I believe Mr. Umberto said that he's going to estate sales. So I'm a estate sale thrift store junkie, so I can explain everything to you. When you go to a estate sale, it's people who passed away and they're either hiring a company to sell their items or the family members come and just give it away.
Okay.
So most of the estate sales items are gently used, or there are things that it could be reused within any household. But it could be some items that doesn't worth to bring it to the stores. So it's a little bit different than when you go to a regular thrift store as when you go to a estate sale.
Okay.
There may be higher qualities there.
Yeah, those were some of the questions I received on my way over from some constituents that live in the area. They were just concerned, like, is it something you would get like at the swap meet? Is it something you would get at a yard sale? Is it something you get like, maybe I've seen people like do resell through Amazon, but this is all pretty much consignment. Is it mostly all consignment?
I don't follow the I'm not familiar with consignment. What exactly?
Like what you're talking right now with the folks that have passed on or want to get rid of their high-end furniture, that's kind of like consignment in a way.
So consignment, Madam Chair, usually is when you take your item there
wanna
and you ask them to sell it
Okay.
for you for a higher price. I don't think Mr. Umberto will do that.
Okay,
Mr. Umberto will bring the items and put a price and
Gotcha.
resell it.
okay.
I think what we're trying to ask is like the quality of the items
Yeah.
that you're gonna be reselling in the store, if they're gonna be like consignment quality, or if it's gonna be quality as like something that you would find at the swap meet or a garage sale.
No, it's consignment quality, yes.
Okay.
Thank you, yes.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm trying to get the words out, right? Because I know that was some of the questions that some of the constituents that watch this and they're really excited because, you know, this is something that we rarely get to see in front of, especially at the old village, Indio Village Market. That's what I remember it growing up by. And so those are some of the concerns and questions to see like because I know there's some folks that want to be able to shop and see what other like options they have, because a lot of times you have to go across to the other side of the freeway to get things that they would like to get across the street. So those were some of the questions that I received and wanted to clarify with you. Am I missing anything before? I haven't done a project consultation in a while.
You're doing good.
We're doing
It's an
okay.
informal conversation
Okay.
between you and the applicant and staff. And so it's
Okay.
up to the commission. If you have any more questions, you could certainly ask them, or if the applicant has any questions of the commission or staff, you can ask.
No,
Madam
questions.
Chair, I have a couple.
Go ahead.
So I really like the fact that you brought the conversation about the quality of the items, whether it was consignment quality or garage sales and, remate, items. So my question is, for this gentleman to come in and get a CUP, and it's expensive. It's a lot of money for him to put up front to get this, to even start this process. So I want to make sure that we as a commission, if we have any serious concerns about this, that we express it now and we talk about what it is, our concerns are. So for example, my one concern would be, I think the idea of higher end consignment items is great. I mean, I think that area probably doesn't have anything like that. But the question is, once the CUP is issued, and this might be a question to staff, is how do we ensure that that is the business that evolves in there? I mean, I don't want to say, yes, we'll approve this, and then he goes through the process, but then it comes back and it turns out it's not exactly what we all think, and he just spent a lot of money and time going through this process. So that's kind of where my concerns are going. So I'd love to hear from my fellow commissioners what you guys are thinking, because I don't want to, this is an expensive process. So I want to make sure that if he's going to go through it, that he clearly understands where we stand.
So if I may, I can just kind of like explain what we can do. So when he comes back with the CUP, the design of a building, exterior and interior, will show how it could be operated and what kind of items it could be there. So if for example, one comes back with just a shell and nothing going on inside or outside, so that shows anything can go there. But if he has clear areas of furniture, these are the shelves for smaller items, these are the shelves for larger items, and this is, for example, the silver plated area, this is the area for the paintings and things like that, then we can know. And also, as I said, the exterior, the signage and things like that, there's nothing that it could be done to the entire building, but that type of design of the inside could be a sign. But when the a CUP gets approved, I don't think we can go back and find out what is consignment quality and not, because it is very subjective.
And if I could add, I just want to add to what Leila just said. So within the codified authority of the currently adopted codes, the code specifies resale or resell, excuse me, but it doesn't specify the type of resale. So it would be very difficult, and I think there would be some legal question as to the commission being able to specify the quality of the goods being sold. You can certainly encourage the applicant, and I think the applicant has indicated that he desires to do that. But I think that within the current codified authority available to the Planning Commission in your decision-making capacity, you would not be able to specify the quality of goods being sold. So there are certain limitations in your considerations.
So Kevin, on that note, sorry,
Oh, go ahead.
Madam Chair.
No, go ahead.
Following that also, the CUP goes with the property, correct?
Correct.
So you went with the land, correct?
Correct. So if we approve a resale establishment in this unit, and I believe the applicant has every intent to sell consignment high quality items, but if it doesn't work out, or the job at the school district is better, or something goes wrong, the next person that comes in could put any type of resale establishment in that space. Is that correct?
So the CUP runs with the land. However, the applicant would have to work with the city if he chose to transfer the business operation. So we would need to be aware of what type of land use was being proposed. If it was a similar land use, such as another resale oriented business, then you're correct, Commissioner.
Okay, those are my comments.
I have a comment maybe more for Zach. We talk about codifying the language on the CUP. Is that something that we can do as a legislative body to amend that, or
So I
add the
believe,
consignment portion of it on the CUP?
I believe, kind of, if I can follow the thread here, and if I'm off course from where your question is going, let me know. But I believe what Director Schneider was referencing is in the code right now in 159.222, the conditional use is listed as thrift shops or secondhand dealerships. The city can amend the zoning code, which you will be presented with an amended development code for that, kind of as we've discussed later this summer. The Planning Commission does provide feedback on that. Ultimately, it's the city council that approves changes to the development code. Does that answer your question?
So basically we can recommend, but that won't be changed until we go through our zoning code ordinances.
So maybe just to further enhance on what the Assistant City Attorney said, as part of your consideration of this conditional use permit application proposed to you by the applicant, if he does submit his application, you're not allowed to change the code as part of that, the code that governs the conditional use permit.
As it stands, correct?
As it stands, as this Assistant City Attorney just said, that package of code amendments, what we call the zoning code update, will be coming in front of the Planning Commission ultimately for your consideration, review, and then recommendation to City Council. At that time, you could make recommendation to the council around conditional use permits in terms of how they're processed, how they're looked at. In fact, as staff, we have several things we want to bring to you to enhance that process. The current code we feel is a little bit light, but for the application, if the applicant does submit it, it is under the current conditional use permit regulation. So no modification of zoning code associated with a particular application.
Until we, as a governing body, work on that, that would be this summer?
So Leila and I are working frantically with the zoning code consultants. I will say probably right now we're targeting end of September, early October to have the public review draft, at which time we anticipate sitting down with the Planning Commission and going through that. So it's taking just a little bit longer because as you may know, we're down a few people.
Yes.
So we are working to get that reviewed. So that will be coming in front of you in the very, very near future. If the applicant makes his application, he will be considered under the rules in effect at the time once his application is complete. So even if the code got changed, he would have what's called vested rights to be considered under the rules that were in effect at the time that his application was complete.
Gotcha. Got it. Okay. All right.
Madam Chair.
Any other
if I may.
questions?
Yeah, if I may, actually, it's a question for Zach. So I appreciate Commissioner Franz putting on the table and saying, well, let's be upfront and transparent where this was a project that would come to us as a item that we would be making decision, before the applicant goes on this journey, what is the sense? So my question, Zach, is can we, in this informal conversation, say, if this was something that I would be making a decision on today, this is whether I would say yes or no? Is that, or is that?
That's a very good question. Again, where we are in the context of a project consultation, so the potential applicant here can present the proposed project, solicit feedback, but the commission would be restricted and could not make any action today or commit to either acting in a positive or negative light if an application submitted and if the application would come back for kind of a formal hearing at some later date.
Gotcha.
Thank you, Commissioner Rodriguez Ceja. Any other comment?
I'd just like to make a comment. I think that I would like to see something that was, providing more high-end and higher quality things if this is something that would be approved. But I also know that there is a need to activate that particular space. And so I am thankful that there is an interest from the applicant to bring something new that is not currently there. And, I grew up, when I was growing up, we went to secondhand stores all the time because I'm the oldest of 5 kids. And so I know what it's like to have to, look for things that might not necessarily be brand new in order to give some utility. So I'm not opposed to secondhand stores. And I believe Commissioner Franz was saying, the nonprofits usually will have these secondhand stores, and the quality of those particular items can vary because a lot of those things are being donated, right? I myself have donated several things to Angel View, to Martha's Village. And it seems like this particular business model is to purchase and then resell in order for you to be making a profit. So I'm hopeful that by continuing that particular model, since it's not like people are just going to be dropping by and donating things for you to sell, that there is an intent to be bringing higher quality things to the retail shop. So that's just, that's where I am at. I'm hopeful that if this is something that would come through, that it would maintain a level of higher quality. And I think that the interest in the place is grand. So that's me.
Thank you, Commissioner Rodriguez Teja. Any other further comments? Vice Chair?
Yes, agreeing with Commissioner Rodriguez Teja, I think that anything going into this property is going to help enhance the look and possibly attract more business to some of the other spaces that are available. This center used to be kind of a hub of that community of the North Indio and the Res community, where a lot of people, still talk about doing their grocery shopping there. I know that there's a furniture store where the grocery store was now. However, maybe it could, attract life to that center. I'm all for anyone doing whatever they can to open their own business and support themselves and do well. I personally have no problem with being a secondhand store, especially since his goal is to maybe even offer some of these higher end items at lower prices than some of the current secondhand stores. Sometimes I'll check out secondhand stores in our community, and sometimes the prices really aren't that much of a discount for the quality. So it sounds like he wants to have something that's a higher quality than donated items and things like that. And that's another point, is some of those not-for-profit secondhand stores rely on a lot of donations, and donations tend to clutter up the front. There's a door for deliveries and drop-offs, and you drive by and you see a bunch of trash bags or bins full of clothes. Looks like this is not the business model that he's going after. So I'm eager to see what he has in mind. And those are my thoughts.
Thank you. Commissioner France, do you have any other questions before I move on to Commissioner Valdez?
Sure. I think his plan is unique. It's good. I think it would be good for the area. I wish him the best. I worried about the competition from the other stores in the area. For a small business owner, it's always tough. And I worry about the fact that the resale permit goes with the property, and the next person may come in with something very different. And once we do it, we can't change it or restrict it. So that's my big concern there. But I think his idea is great. I think that if what he's sharing with us, if he can do it, I think it'll be a great addition to the area. But my question is, what if he's not the one that actually ends up being there 5 years from now or 2 years from now? It's hard to be a small business owner. So those are my only concerns, but I applaud him for wanting to do this. I think it is something that we need.
Okay. Commissioner Valdez?
I also love the idea of having a business in the Village Market. For years, I passed by there, and it needs a little life in there. So to see something like this come in there would be great. Again, just noting that the items that come in are good. We want to make sure that it's something that's good quality, and that the community has the opportunity to come and buy something at a discount price. And we just want to make sure that it looks, how can I say it with that? That doesn't look like someone's walking into a garage sale or anything like that. And it sounds like the items that you have would be of a higher quality. Now, I'm just like a little confused with the whole CUP, just because he's not the owner of the actual property. So even if he's not the owner of the property, the CUP is tied into that space, even if he were to relocate, or how does that?
It is a little bit of a unique situation. The commission actually experienced this before when Revivals was coming in, where they are a tenant in the space. So they don't actually own the physical space, they lease it. So the property owner has to be a willing party to allow the application, number one. And then this conditional use permits do run with the land. So it is assigned to the land. And in this instance, what we did is, I believe in Revivals, and what we would do here is we, in essence, assigned it to that space. So it becomes a little bit of a finessing because in many instances, conditional use permits are not always in tenant spaces. The current Indio Municipal Code has this requirement for resale stores, and oftentimes they do go into leased space. So it would run with the land, but we would assign it in essence to that tenant space only.
Okay, so if he were to vacate the space and a new person is going to come in, then we would have a meeting like this again to see whether or not we would permit for them to take over the CUP?
Well, not necessarily. If the applicant was to sell his business to another party that was going to run it as the same use, no. If he was going to close his business and another business was going to come into that space, depending on what it was, it may require its own separate conditional use permit.
Okay.
I think if to the extent it's helpful, I think it would be if we're in this scenario where there's a subsequent use, if that subsequent use kind of fit the definition of the granted conditional use. If it was, wanting to sell something completely different, then it would be a new scenario.
That's a good clarification. Thank you, Zach. Yeah, I was speaking in the context of a similar business operation, but if it was something selling, they were selling tires. I can't think of anything else at 6:30 at night, but then that may not be allowed.
Got it. Okay. Well, any other further questions?
And Chair, could I should have done this earlier, but if this comes back to the commission and you will be presented compliance with the general plan as a staff review. And I just wanted to point out there are 2 economic development policies that I think do pertain. And I just want to leave them in your heads because this commission, with the exception of our new commissioner, all of you sat through and participated and recommended to the council the adoption of the general plan in 2019. And these are 2 economic development policies that I think are applicable. ED 6.1 says new retailers, where appropriate, support the entry of new retail uses into the city, including uses that will attract spending from visitors and residents of neighboring communities in the Coachella Valley. So we hope that as new businesses come into our city, that they will attract folks from other communities in the valley that will spend their money here and contribute to our sales tax base. And then ED 6.2, retail development, support retail development that meets the community needs of Indio residents in appropriate locations in order to prevent the leakage of local expenditures to neighboring communities. So, buy local. We want people to spend here as much as possible. And this is the type of business that would encourage that spending local. So these are just two examples of our economic development policies that I think are applicable to your conversation and would be back in front of you if the applicant does move forward.
Yeah. So I think you kind of got a sense of what some of our concerns are, and quality, I think, is like the underlining. Otherwise, I'm going to be hearing it from those doñas across the street. But I just want to thank you for investing in Indio, and I guess we'll see you back here soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Staff items.
I'll start. I have a couple of items to report on, and then I will turn it over to Leila. So just a couple of updates on previous items that were before the Planning Commission. The Church of the Red Door specific plan, the City Council conducted the second reading of the ordinance adopting the specific plan on July 21st. At that time, it was pulled from the consent agenda, and there was a rediscussion by the City Council on the Avenue 49 access, and the council did reaffirm the previous decision to not allow the access onto Avenue 49. It was a 3-2 vote, similar to the previous meeting. So that ordinance has passed. The Ventana project that was before you recently, the general plan amendment and specific plan, the first reading of that was done on July 21st. It's going back to City Council on August 18th for its second reading. The Golden Voice Development Agreement extension and zoning text amendment that was before you at your last meeting is going to City Council on August 18th for its first recommendation, at which time we'll present the Planning Commission's recommendation on that as well. Housing element update, we will be issuing the public review draft of the document, the housing element document next week, and we will notify the commission when that is available, as well as we will be publicizing it to the public, to both the stakeholders that have joined us in our community engagement meetings, as well as relevant agencies. And that will have we will have a review period until about mid-October on that. So we're hopeful that folks will take a look at it and ask the Planning Commission to assist us in getting the word out as much as you can with your network, to let folks know that that's out there and to take a look at it and give us comments. We talked about the zoning code update project, and as we said, that's moving along. Layla and I are going to be reviewing a lot of stuff over the next week, and we're aiming to get that in front of you, like I said, end of September, early October. And then at that time, we'll be having a discussion with you about what we're thinking about. And you can tell us what you think and whether you agree, whether you disagree, whether you want changes, or remember that you're ultimately going to make the recommendation to City Council. So it's important that this be reflective of your thoughts and opinions. And then the very last thing is just, this is more of an information item, but I thought might be of interest. On August 18th as well, we are taking a contract to the City Council for a fiber master plan for the city. The council appropriated money in the new budget for the city to prepare a fiber master plan. That fiber master plan is going to be a comprehensive look at how we enhance fiber in our community to address economic development needs, as well as social equity needs, to make sure, as I think we all saw through the pandemic, unfortunately, in our community and other communities in the Valley, as well as other parts of the state and the nation, there was not always the uniform access to fiber broadband access. And so this plan is going to really look at how we could improve that. What are the strategies? What are the ideas? Where are our gaps in that service? And that's going to be something that we are going to try to accomplish quickly, because there is money available. As many of you may have heard, the new infrastructure financing by the federal government has money set aside for that. So we want to make sure that we take advantage of that. And in addition, the cities has received American Rescue Plan Act funding as well. And if that is ultimately an area the council wants to invest in, then we want to be positioned to have good information for their decision making. So with that, I am done. If there's any questions before I turn it over to Layla, I'm happy to answer them.
I'm sorry, did you mention the mall? Or is that?
Oh, the mall. So the mall is moving forward. There was a meeting recently on their building permits. I know I think I mentioned previously, they have a strong desire to get under construction before the end of the year. And they've told us it'll take about a year for them to do what they want to do, what you saw and signed off on. So I believe the plans are coming in the end of this month, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's gonna get busy out there pretty soon.
Did it need to go before council or?
No, it did not. You were the deciding entity, the planning
Okay.
commission. It was a design review, so it's done, so to speak. Now, there's a second phase, which involves to the south of the current mall property. That will be, you'll be seeing an application at some point from the Hagan Company to process an amendment to the specific plan that governs that property. There's several things they'd like to do that would require changes in that specific plan. So that will be before you at some point. We're not sure exactly when. They're working on it right now, and they're working. They've updated. I think that their goal is to be in by early fall.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other comments?
Madam Chair, I don't have any comments. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioners, do you have any comments?
I have one. Can you guys please make sure that whatever day they knock down the first wall in the mall, we get invited?
Yes.
I really want to celebrate that moment. Okay, so putting my request out there now.
I will find out if we're having a knocking down the wall ceremony and let you know.
Groundbreaking, anything. Yeah, I've been, that's something I've been waiting for since the 7th grade. Commissioner Valdez?
I'm not sure if this is when I can ask this or not, but I have a question in regards to one of the roads in North India that's right on the corner of Avenue 38 and Jefferson. Or is it 39 and Jefferson, which is right in the corner of the high school and right next door to the new church that's being built. School's gonna start soon and there's a gate that cuts off the walking area for the kids. And I was just curious as to why that gate is there or the fence is there, or if that fence is gonna get pushed in a little bit. There's kids that run through there like for, practice for soccer or for track. And they're kind of into the road and it's a little dangerous for them to be running through there or walking through there on their way to school.
So I have limited familiarity. I know what you're talking about. I believe, and what I will do is I will follow up with our Public Works Director and get more detailed information. I do believe the city has a future capital works project in place to do some road work in that area that would improve that section, but I'm not sure about the gate. So I'll be happy to find that out and I'll share that with yourself and the rest of the commission based on the input from the Public Works Director.
Okay, because school starts next week, so there's a lot of students that walk that way
Sure.
to go to school, and it's a little dangerous. Well, that area is as dangerous as it is, without the fence being up, but I was just curious as to why it's blocking the pathway for the kids to.
And Commissioner, can you remind me of the location of the fence?
It's right next to Shadow Hills High School. It's on the corner of Jefferson and Avenue 39. And it's a property right next door to where the church is being built. So I believe the church, it looks like they've built a sidewalk, but it doesn't look like it's extending to that property that would take it all the way to the stoplight that the kids would, use to cross to get to the school.
Okay, I will do some research into
Okay.
that.
Thank you.
Any further comments, questions, anything else? All right, so I guess we'll go ahead and adjourn. If I can get a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn today's meeting.
Okay, so Vice Chair, do I have a second?
And just to clarify, that would be a motion to adjourn to the next regular meeting, August 25th at City Council chambers and virtually, it looks like as well.
I always forget that
Certainly.
last part. Yes, next commission meeting will be held on August 25th at 6 p.m. here and or at home, correct? Virtual, yes. Okay, and so we have a motion from Vice Chair. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Chair. Commissioner Franz, if you could please give roll call?
Chairperson Lopez,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Isiano,
Yes.
Commissioner France,
Yes.
Commissioner Valdez,
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez Teja.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Motion.
Have a good night, everyone.